Is capitalism evil? In today's episode, I want to talk about something that I haven't really talked too much about on this particular podcast. But there are a lot of people in the world right now who are really going like, this capitalism thing has failed us. This capitalism thing is wrong. It's the problem. It's the root cause of all the problems of the world. Now, I can't say whether any of that is true from a factual standpoint. I can understand that for many people it feels true. There are a lot of people who are feeling left behind, unable to win, unable to get ahead. I get that. I appreciate that. I just don't agree with it. And I'll share with you some of my own journey when it's come to this, because 2017, 2018, I think I've lost track a little bit. It was around 2017, 2018. I was working with a coach that I'd worked with for a number of years. And on a particular session, I kind of was just like, what's the point of it all? It's all bullshit. All of it. Like, making money, building businesses, like it's all made up. It's all bullshit. Like none of it matters. And so I had this part of me, we were doing this process known as a parts integration. If you followed, if you yourself do neuro-linguistic programming and, health coaching, and I'm probably not explaining it super well. If you're into that world, you might know what I'm talking about by a parts integration. But basically I had these two conflicting parts of my world. I had part of me that was just like, what is the point? Like, let's just go and sit in the forest and just chill out because none of it matters. None of what we think of as life actually matters. And then there was this other part of me that's like, well, no, this is the world we live in. These are the rules of the game. This is kind of how you win the game. And that's exactly ultimately where I came to when I was able to integrate these parts. And I'm hoping I can save you the thousands of dollars I spent on this coach to get that help, is ultimately realize that this is all made up. And what prompted today's episode was actually this morning. I was out on the balcony with my daughter. She's 1. And we were watching these two kookaburras. If you're not from Australia, the kookaburras are a native bird. Look them up on YouTube. They basically laugh. They're these birds that kind of, their sound sounds like they're laughing. And so these two kookaburras are out the back. And I say to my daughter, I said, oh, look, he's in our yard. He's in our backyard. And then I caught myself. I was like, actually, no, he's in his yard. Because before we were all here, before we chose to say so-and-so owns this land, this was his space. Maybe not him specifically, but his species and other species. This was their space. He's not in my thing. I don't own the airspace. I don't own the land, because ownership is made up. It is a principle of capitalism, and even before capitalism, ownership was a concept. But the idea that any one person can own land or even own anything is a completely made up concept, right? I hope you get that. Like, it is a completely made up concept that we as humans have agreed to this idea of, okay, yes, this person can own this person does not own this person can and can't. I mean, not that long ago, there were rules about who could own what and who couldn't, right? Based on the color of their skin and various other things that we're not necessarily proud of as a human race today. So it's all made up. Ownership is made up. A business is made up. What is a business? A business doesn't physically exist. An office building can physically exist, but the business that owns the office building is a completely made up concept. It's written out on paper that, yeah, this is what a business is, and it's a whole bunch of people working to it, but it's not a physical construct that you can actually pick up and touch or own. But yet we own property, right? That technically isn't ours to own. We own businesses that don't really exist. We own little pieces of other people's businesses through shares. We now have digital money with cryptocurrencies, which is just these zeros and ones. We create content, which again is these zeros and ones that we might say this is our ownership. We have ideas and thought, and we want to lock that under intellectual property rules and say, I own this because I came up with it. Whereas if you go from a very spiritual concept, you might realize that there's usually no new thoughts. We can have evolutions and tweaks, but often a lot of the things we think we're thinking today, hundreds of years ago, people had similar thought processes. They might have not had all the pieces, but they had similar thought processes. So there's not necessarily even any new thinking. So all of this to come to the question, is capitalism evil? In my opinion, no, it's not. It is a system. It is completely unbiased. It is a system of the market dictating what we focus on. And so if you as a consumer, and we're all consumers, if you're not happy with the way companies are prioritizing different things, it's us as the market that ultimately choose. If we're prepared to pay more for things that are organic, and the bulk of society started doing that, then there would be more value and the price of organics would actually come down. It would become the baseline product. But instead, a lot of people, due to financial circumstances, due to just the way they think, whatever, they're going to go, no, I don't want organic products. And I'm not saying whether organic is right or wrong, but if you want society to be a certain way, the best thing you can do is try to create a market wave dynamic where they're wanting it. And we're seeing that, where they're wanting those things from the company. So it becomes more profitable. It makes more sense to deliver the market what they want. If the market won't buy a product, they won't buy the product. They won't make it anymore because it doesn't make sense as a company to offer that product or service if no one wants to buy it. But if someone is buying this product that you believe is bad for the environment, bad for health, bad for society, they're only continuing to make it because people are prepared to buy it. All right, I'm going a little tangent here where I plan to go, but let me bring myself back on track. Is capitalism evil? No, it's only a game. This is what I really wanted to bring to you. The key realization I had during that parts integration session was the way that you as a business owner can go, okay, why am I doing all this? When you hit that point where you start to go, this is all bullshit, why am I doing it? Is you remind yourself that that's all it is. When you're working so hard, going, I've got to make this money, and you're feeling stressed and you're feeling overwhelmed, and maybe you feel like you're not where you need to be and you're scared, take a moment and just go, okay, none of this matters. Success, what I'm defining as success right now, is made up. Oh, I don't own my own home. Well, guess what? Technically, none of us own our own home, or we do. We're all on the land. We were born here. We were born on this planet, and so this planet Earth is our home. Like, you can step back from the system and go, okay, this is what is. This is what I know deep in my soul. This is what I know at my core to be true. That I can't be owned and I can't own anything. If you've done some really deep work, you might even reach the realization of there is no self and there is no other. I don't exist. I'm not separate from you. You and I are the same. Not just the same conceptually, but at its spiritual core level, we are the oneness. Now, that's all well and good to have that and to have that awareness. But if you show up with that awareness and try to survive in a capitalist society, then you're also going to find that life seems to be harder than you want it to be. And so what I encourage you to look at is go, okay, this is how society is today. Doesn't mean it'll always be this way. The rules of how society works is not always going to be that way because we've had so many different rules of how society works over the millennia. But right now, society works a certain way. Money is a tool, and the more of it you have, the more options you have. You can own property. That may change in the future. Who knows? But right now, it's a rule. And ownership is effectively what helps you create wealth. So you go, okay, I know I can't truly own something, but I'm going to play the game because this is the game we're playing, and that's all it is. It's a game. Because at the end of the day, I know none of it matters, and I'm just playing like you come to someone's house and you're playing a new board game, and you're like, tell me the rules, and you're learning the rules and you're trying to figure out how to play. At the end of the day, whether you win that game or not is irrelevant. You have fun playing it. You learn some stuff, you share great experiences with other people, and that is the same as building businesses, building wealth. If you've got some spiritual parts of you that are, or maybe it's not even spiritual, if you've just got these emotional parts of you that are kind of just like, oh, what's the point? And these beliefs are holding you back from doing what's required within the system of capitalism and what's required to build the wealth that you think you want or you think would be fun to create, that's what's holding you back. Now, I know this might be a little heavy episode for some of you. I just really wanted to share this. It was something that came up this morning, as I said, looking at these kookaburras this morning, and I said to my daughter, oh, he's in our yard. And I was like, hold on, no, he's in his yard because we can't own this. And I just really wanted to share that with you. So if you've got value out of today's episode, or you think someone else would get value out of it, maybe they go, what is this guy talking about? This is crazy stuff. Or maybe you can send it to someone who they're all about this. Love you to just go into your favorite podcasting platform, grab the link to this episode and send it to them and say, hey, saw this, thought you might like it. And I'd love to hear from you about what else you would like to hear on the show. We do take questions from listeners, so you can record an audio and send in a question, or you can send in a question via text. So if you've got a question, please hit us up at rising.show. Would love to hear from you. And in future episodes, we look forward to bringing you more guests and more interesting insights like this, as well as practical business and wealth creation tools. I'm Carl Taylor. Thanks for tuning in. You've been listening to Entrepreneurs Rising. Thank you, dear listener, for tuning in. I appreciate your time and look forward to connecting in future episodes. If you would like show notes or any resources from today's episode, you can find them at rising.show. Rising.show. You can find show notes for this episode and all other episodes, as well as links to socials and the ability to reach out and connect with me, make your suggestions for future episodes. Until next time, keep up the journey.